You have 5 seconds to answer. What color is the sky? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you say blue? What if I said that the sky was pink? Or that it was orange? Would I be wrong? No. It all depends on your perspective. Let's talk about it.
What's up, crew?
Well, in my opinion, boy, what the hell, boy, you need to ask yourself, why orange? Kind of controversial, but I don't think we should. I just broke down crying. You're listening to Free to Grow with Jerome Mbaga. New episode every Thursday. Hey crew, welcome to episode 10, Stupidity is Key. Today we're going to be talking about the power of knowing that you might not always be the smartest in the room and how that can help you navigate conversations specifically. I know this can be like an ideology that can be branched out to a lot of other areas of your life, like situations, homework, work, like all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to focus on conversations for today. So before we dive into the episode, I wanted to say hello to you guys. I hope you guys have had a really good week. Just a little check-in on me. A lot of fun stuff have been happening this week because I finally started school on Tuesday. For those of you that did not know or know, the university I'm going to, Dalhousie, the teachers have been on strike. Kind of the school and the teachers were in disagreement about the pay, so the school locked the teachers out, and then the teachers protested back, and then they finally came to a deal. So now I'm finally starting school. It was definitely a fun 2-3 weeks of just hanging out with my friends and having lots of fun and partying and eating food and going to the gym. But I'm really excited to finally be a university student. A lot of fun stuff has been happening all the time. Namely, we had the Society Expo recently where all the societies came and, they were in this big building and they all had their own booths. There were so many societies. And I joined a lot. I'm not actually going to be doing a lot, but there was just so much that I'm just going to try out over the next week or two and then solidify what I want to get down on. But I signed up for the Dal Theater Society. I signed up for the Run Club, the Swim Club, Model UN. For those of you who don't know, I really love Model UN. I did it during high school. The Debate Society, but I don't think I'm going to do the Debate Society because I like Model UN more, and they're very similar. The Outdoor Society, so cool. The Outdoor Society is always running these really cool trips for students where you can buy tickets and go on an adventure with them. They do overnight canoe trips, they do hikes, they do hammock chills at this big park nearby the university. It's really cool. So I did a walk with them to this park called Point Pleasant Park. It's really nice. And we also set up a bunch of hammocks. And just chilled and vibed first thing in the morning. It was great. The Canoe and Kayak Society, where I went on a nice canoe the other day. It was 2 hours in the water. It was just chill. Sunday morning. It was great. So yeah, I've been busy. But one thing I did want to share with you guys is that I decided to audition for the Dal Acapella Society because I really wanted to join. I did not know a lot about acapella a year or two ago, but my girlfriend's brother does a cappella and I've been to a couple of his shows and I was just wow, this is so cool. Because I feel I'm always doing a cappella just in my head or when I'm just tweaking on my own. Sometimes I'll just be in my room and just start humming and just I feel a lot of people do that all the time. Just start tweaking and just start humming and tapping my foot and making a whole musical by myself. But so I went to the audition, and to be completely honest, I was not that prepared because the audition was on a Saturday morning and the society fair was a week before that. And I forgot that it was happening. So I went and I signed up on Saturday morning for audition on Saturday morning. And I was nervous, my voice was getting dry, all that kind of stuff. So I sang Stick Season for them. Which I think I did pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. But I did not do very well. They made me do a couple of vocal exercises, repeat after me kind of thing, and I was messing them up. Because I do love music a lot, and the whole world of music, but I'm not very good at theory, at all. or like scales and all like musical terms. Like I don't know. I really don't know anything. I really don't. And it's like concerning for like the amount of time I've spent in music class or like around musical people. It's a bit concerning, but oh well. So anyways, I went to the audition and I did not make it. And that one stung a little. I'm not gonna lie, because I did really, really want to join. But they were saying that a lot of people came out, yada yada yada, you know. So yeah, that was a bit of a low light of this week. That I did not make the audition because I did really want to. But oh well. I'm gonna audition again in January, I think. I think they do auditions every semester. So hopefully it'll go a little better then. But I'm not sour or anything. We'll just take it like for what it is kind of thing. And yeah. In brighter news though, the Theater Society, I went to their meeting on Tuesday. On Tuesday, yes. And I learned so much. They do musicals, and they're going to be posting the musical that the school's going to be doing this year pretty soon. So I'm definitely going to audition for that. I'll let you guys know how that goes as well. And then I also did inner tube water polo on Wednesday night, and that was so much fun. I had a lot of fun, and the group is really great. So yeah, I've just been getting up to stuff. So past that, finally starting the episode where today we are going to be talking about how stupidity is key. I will admit the title is a bit of clickbait, just to get the engagement going. But essentially the thesis of this episode, if you will, is that it's great to have confidence. You know, it's great to have confidence. It's important to have confidence, and for you to have the ability to feel that you're the smartest in the room. That's amazing. However, where that becomes a problem is when you think you're always the smartest in the room, regardless, like before you have enough data to discern that. Like if you work as a teacher and you teach kindergartens, yeah, maybe it's very it's a very wise thing for you to think that you're the smartest in the room, because you probably are. But there are times that teachers mess up. There are times that a kid is like, oh no, I didn't hit this kid, but you think, oh no, my adult wisdom is better, yada yada yada. And maybe it's not. So I want to start with chapter 1, if you will, where I want to focus on the fact that I feel that this ideology is very well known. It's not like I'm saying anything earth-shattering here at all. It's just not applied very well, because you can get by without thinking this way very well. And to be honest, a lot of us do. A lot of us do, because it's easier to have that false sense of security that you know everything, you know what's going on, rather than admit that you maybe don't. And I'm so guilty of this too. And the reason why that's a problem is because the only thing that grants you is incomplete experiences. Incomplete actions lead to incomplete experiences. And when I say that, I mean that if I'm talking to you, let's say you and I got into a heated conversation about something, right? And maybe we're actually on the same side of the issue, right? But I can't, if I come into this conversation, or if you come into the conversation thinking that you are right and I am wrong, then the conversation has ended before it has even begun. Because if we do come to that stalemate where we're just clashing heads and no progress is being made into the conversation, then you leave the conversation without fully understanding the thoughts and experiences I had to give to you, and I don't get the same out of you either. So it's a lose-lose scenario. It is not it's not beneficial for anyone. And I bring that up because recently, this is really random, but I love talking about anything with anyone all the time. If you are a person that maybe knows me, you go to school with me or something, and you're just listening to this, I will talk to you about anything all the time. And it's not because I don't have friends or I'm bored or anything. I just love talking to people. all the time people just come up to me and just start like lore dropping their whole life to me, which I find pretty fun. Or just really random like niche like yap sessions or advice. And so recently, there were these two girls that I go to school with that I was like friends with more through like association before, but we've been coming closer and closer, and like they're my friends now. And so essentially, we were at the dining hall eating lunch, and we started talking about conspiracy theories, and we were just like talking about like like that Malaysia flight that disappeared, like 9/11, moon landing, like everything. And it was funny. Like we weren't taking the conversation too seriously. But then we realized like, hey, there's like a bit of a vibe going. Like we like this conversation. So we decided to meet up later that day and talk about it some more. We ended up back in my room with my roommate and we were just talking. And essentially these two girls are Jewish. And I wanted to, well, before I get there, if you follow my Instagram or if you've talked to me in real life, maybe you know or don't know that I consider myself a pro-Palestine supporter when it comes to the Israel-Palestine situation. But that does not mean I think every single opinion I hold is correct. I don't believe that like I'm the voice of like all-knowing God or anything like that. I'm confident in my position, but that doesn't mean I think I know everything, And there's an important separation. So I've always wanted to have a conversation, like a civil, not like yelling or screaming, civil conversation with a person who identifies with the Jewish faith or culture or heritage, and have that conversation about Israel versus Palestine. And so we talked about it, and it was so refreshing. I learned a lot. And it was cool because I think even if I don't like they told me, I'm not putting words, they told me that they consider themselves pro-Israel people, and that's, I think, the term like pro-Israel, pro-Palestine are very broad terms and can mean very different things. And it turned out that my definition of being pro-Palestinian and their definition of being pro-Israeli were actually very similar. And I wouldn't have been able to learn so much about their faith or about where they come from and the journey of their people if I wasn't willing to sit down and be like, hey, maybe I don't know everything. Let me hear the other perspective. And so I learned a lot, and I'm sure they learned a lot from that conversation. And I still hold the position of that I'm a pro-Palestine supporter, and they still hold the position that they're pro-Israeli people. And the goal of the conversation was never really to convert one another or anything like that. But like the real like treasure out of that conversation is that we both left, all three of us left the conversation respecting each other so much more. Because the ability to sit down and have such a, what's the word for it, controversial subject discussed in such a civil manner where you feel heard, it is a beautiful thing. And it doesn't even have to be controversial. It's just the fact that I feel that you and like humans in general, I feel like we don't feel fully heard enough. Like you ever had a conversation with someone and you can tell that they're listening to you. They don't have any like preconceived notions of what you're gonna say or who you are. They're not like gonna go whisper it off to someone else or anything. Like it's fine if they do, but not like in like a backstabby kind of way. You just feel heard. You feel that your words carry meaning, that they're having a lasting impact on this person, and that every like syllable that you're saying is being heard. I feel it's very rare that we have those experiences. Not like rare, like once in your lifetime kind of thing, but the amount of conversations you'll have like that compared to the amount of conversations you have on a day-to-day basis is very small. It's like 1 to like 50 or something. Or it depends who you're hanging out with. But so the ability for both of us to come to the conversation, both two groups, and be like, okay, we might not be right here. turned out to be a very, very, very beautiful experience. And so I recommend that all of you do that ASAP. And so that will lead into the second portion, where I'm basically saying that before you can do all that, you need to come to terms with yourself very quickly that you can be wrong, and it's okay. It's okay. You know, like, you don't gotta crash out about it. Because I think, like, being wrong once you realize you're wrong in a situation, or maybe, like, you know, when you subconsciously realize it, but you're trying to, like, delude yourself, or you start, like, I don't know, being mean to the other person, or just, like, throwing, like, and again, this is mainly focusing on conversation aspects. Just, like, you know, when you're debating someone and you can just tell that their arguments are just like bruh, what are we doing right now? Like if I say, like, if I tell someone politely, like, oh, hey, like, there's something stuck in your teeth or whatever, and they take offense to that, and they're like, bro, what do you even know? Yada, 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 like, you're ugly, yada, yada, yada. That was a very, like, random example I just came up with there. But that's what I mean. Like, you know that the things they're saying to you just have no relation to what is actually being said. Like, when it comes down, like, the bread and butter of the conversation, their response has nothing to do with it. They're just trying to, like, put up a wall. This is not to shame anybody, because everyone does this. I do this currently, and I think you're, like, super zen and cool if you don't do this at all, like, ever, at all. But putting up that wall in the conversation is admitting a sign of defeat. And it's not even defeat in the sense you're wrong. It's just defeat in you've lost your like your will to have a civil conversation in that moment. Because if you and I are discussing, and I say something in our conversation, this could be a heated conversation or just like a normal conversation, like maybe we're at work and we're like coworkers or something, and I tell you to do something that maybe, and like very respectfully and politely, that you are supposed to do and you forgot and you take that personally, you know, any situation like that, any conversation. If I say that statement to you and you take that personally when it was not a personal statement, if you start lashing out and crashing out and all that kind of stuff, then all that I see that as is, and then you're saying I was wrong. The position I held in this conversation was wrong. And on top of that, I'm too weak to admit that. I'm not mature enough to admit that I'm wrong. I'm too weak to admit that I'm wrong. And so instead of that, I'm just going to take it all out on you, and you're going to take the emotional burden off of me, and I'm going to walk away thinking that I'm right. And you don't, like, that's not the way to go through life, you know? And that may sound like a dramatic scenario, but it's really not. I think that happens all the time. I think we have some of those conversations like once every single day. And the more you reduce that, you will realize how much more full your conversations can be and how much weight your words really have. And not even like in a bullying sense or something, because sometimes when people hear, oh, my voice, my words have so much weight, they take it as like a scary thing. No, but it's like a good thing. Like, your words mean a lot to me. Not in the sense that they will hurt me, the sense that I hold them dearly. Like, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say. But no one will be able to appreciate your words like that if you give up on civil conversation. And so that's why it's always important. If you're smart, that's amazing for you, especially if you're very well versed in the topic. That's amazing. But there's honestly nothing better than having a conversation with someone where you guys both leave the conversation feeling accomplished and respected and heard. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. So do that, because this is the third part. I already touched on it really, but the third part is that this can really, really, really change your life. It really can. And it definitely did for me. I enjoy being a presence for people, or trying to be the presence for people where they feel that they can just come have a conversation and they're feeling heard. And it doesn't have to be about everything. Like it's okay. Like you have your own things to do. You can't devote your attention to people, what they're saying all the time. That's fine. Also, don't take this approach if someone's being rude to you. Like if I'm being rude to you, then like right off the bat, and you respond to that negatively, that's not you. That's not you waving flag of surrender or anything. No, that's just that like that's just a person being mean. But I'm saying if you guys are both being respectful, then always like make a commitment to yourself right now and in the future that you are going to never give up on civil conversation. And you need to hold the notion that you could be wrong. You could be wrong. That doesn't mean be confident. That doesn't mean don't be confident in what you're saying. No. And believe me, if you know me in person or have debated me, then I'm sure there have been times where I have, or maybe I've looked like I am like Mr. Know-it-all, and I'm just like so sure my position. But even to this day, when I debate very, very, very strongly. I sound very, very confident in my position, but I still hold the notion that anything I'm saying, I could be wrong. Any opinion I am telling you guys, especially on this podcast too. I think I say this on this podcast all the time, but anything I'm saying, I could think the complete opposite tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, years from now, 10 years from now, doesn't matter. I can think completely different. Especially when it comes to these sort of like philosophical and like advice sessions, not where I'm like yapping about random things. Those ideologies could completely change. And I'm aware of that. That's not to say, oh, everything I'm thinking is wrong. No, I'm very confident in every opinion I have right now. Like I'm very confident in every opinion I have over a very, very, very large and broad length of topics. But I also hold the notion that every single one of them could be wrong. That doesn't make me less confident. It just makes me more able to hear other people's perspective. And that's the way to conduct yourself in conversation. So remember, stupidity is key. You can be smart 99% of the time, but you can also be stupid 1% of the time. And that will be your saving grace and your way to navigate through day-to-day conversations. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys today. All of this could be wrong, but who cares? I hope you guys have a really, really, really good week, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.